So cookies, a VP, like if you want to take care of those trackers and stuff like that, fair enough. You need to like use a good software on your PC, but that doesn't solve the issue of your public IP. Now, onto what you can do to protect, to sort of hide your public IP.
Yeah.
So again, we'll draw our example, and I guess you'll tell us what can you do to protect your your IP address.
A VPN.
A VPN. Okay, what does that mean exactly? Do you know what that means?
Uh,
First of all, what does
Virtualized
VPN
personal
stand?
network.
What does VPN stand for? Even
Virtual personal network.
virtual private network.
Private network. Okay.
Okay. We're not necessarily super interested right now into what that means because like the significance of each of these words has more to do with the technicalities of VPN than it has to do with the example at hand today.
Okay.
So maybe once we do the IP routing class, we'll look into what that means, but right now we're not interested.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. How do I do a VPN? Like, what do I need to add to my drawing here, to my whiteboard? What's missing?
I guess a connection between the computer and the internet.
There's a connection. It's right here. This is it.
Or something between the computer and the internet that isn't a connection, or another connection going to a private server, then going to the internet.
So hold on. Let me see if I understand. So you're suggesting that there is like a something here that our computer is connected to, and then that thing is connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you use a VPN service?
No.
Okay. Do you when you use a VPN service, do
Yeah.
you have like a small appliance in your home that gets delivered to you and you put it in your house and suddenly you have a VPN? Is that how it
No,
works?
it's already on the internet.
Right. That's why I'm saying this is not really what I want to go for because this is assuming that this is your house, right?
I know it.
This side of the internet, this is your house. On this
Yeah.
part here is your house. So you don't. It's not here. It wouldn't be between you and the internet.
Would be in the internet.
Exactly. It would be yet another service on the internet. Okay. So what happens when I have a VPN service? What's the communication like now? So let's say we at the end of the day, the difficulty here is that at the end of the day, I still want to have a letter delivered to Google. But I can play around with the addresses.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I still want this letter to somehow be delivered to Google. What do I do? How does it work? What does it do?
Well, the way that I understand it is that the information that you sent, the letter gets sent to a private poster who is
Private poster, what does that
anonymous.
mean?
It gets sent to this place where it is anonymous, and no one, or nearly no one, can find out who sent the letter from this place.
That's pretty good. Okay. What is this place? Is it on our graph or not? Or do I need to draw something else?
It's the VPN.
Right. So, okay, what do I draw and where exactly to really get to what you're saying?
Uh, I
And
guess.
if you're not certain, it's okay. You can tell me you're not certain. I'd like to know like little bits that you are absolutely certain about.
Well, what I am certain about is that information is sent to VPN, uh, and then like the VPN masks or covers your public IP so that people can't find it, and then it sends the information that was sent to it to the destination.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop here because I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. So, let's do it. Let's do the opposite and let's backtrack. We're saying at the end of the day, we want this letter to reach Google. Then
Hmm.
what I'm asking you is, how does it reach Google? So the letter somehow ends here. What was the previous step before the letter got to Google?
it's being sent being sent through the internet from the VPN.
So something like this?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. So
Okay.
first I want to focus on this. Okay? And we can have a look as to okay, how did the VPN get that letter? Right? So the communication between John Smith and the VPN. We can have a look at that afterwards.
Okay.
But this is like the simple part, but it's the easy part, but it's not that easy. So
Okay.
what about the addresses written on the envelope here? What addresses do we have on that envelope? So I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. So what's the destination?
Google.
Google. Easy enough. Where is it from? Where does it come from?
Anonymous or VPN.
That doesn't work. If I just say anonymous, how am I getting a response?
Well then I guess from an address.
Literally just follow the arrow. Where does it
From
come from?
VPN.
From the VPN. And it really is that simple. So Google actually knows that whoever sent that request is using a VPN.
Oh.
Yeah, they do know. The source
Okay.
IP address is the public IP address of the VPN.
Oh.
Okay. Now, there's still the matter of how did that blue envelope get to the VPN server to begin with. And
Well.
this is what's sort of really, really cool. So I'm actually going to draw it above, on top, over here. Okay. So this is what's like really cool about VPNs. I'm going to first give you the technical explanation, and then I'll
Yeah.
show the example with the envelopes so it makes more sense.
Okay.
So from a technical perspective, what a VPN will do is you have your payload. So for instance, your HTTP request, HTTP, HTTPS, maybe it's a Minecraft packet, maybe it's doesn't matter, it can be anything.
Yeah.
Then there is the IP addresses, the IP header. So this is on this one, there would be like John Smith's IP address, for instance, which we're actually trying to hide, right?
Yeah.
But the VPN is actually going to take care of that for us. We don't have to worry about it right now.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is the cool part, is it actually adds another IP header.
Okay.
So the technical term for this is over encapsulation. We are doing we are encapsulating the same packet more than the bare minimum.
Okay.
And whenever you're doing that sort of over encapsulation is when you're doing what's called tunneling. Now, to really understand what it means, again, we'll have to go into the IP routing class. So not for today, but just so you know that this is what a VPN does fundamentally, is just add an extra IP header. That's actually all
Okay.
it does. Okay. Second thing that a VPN will do is say, well, all of this here, I can encrypt it. Right. Because the only thing that I actually care about, so okay, here's what it means. We have the blue letter, which is the one that needs to go to Google at the end of the day. What we're actually going to do is we're going to put it inside a bigger letter, a red letter. So it's like a red letter that contains a blue letter that contains the request for Google.
Okay.
So the really cool thing about this is that it doesn't actually matter what the content of the letter is, right? Like it can be an HTTP request, it can be a Minecraft packet, it can be like literally anything, and it'll work just fine with a VPN.
Okay.
Now, nothing prevents Google from saying, hold on, this is a known VPN IP address, I'm gonna block it.
Mm.
Google can very well decide that they don't want you using a VPN, right?
Yeah.
Some services actually do that, most notably video games. So like for instance, if you ever try to use like a generic commercial VPN and try to log into, for instance, Overwatch,
Yeah.
the game won't let you. In
Okay.
fact, I've tried that once and got my account locked. Now it's no big deal. I could get in unlocked in within 10 minutes. But still, it locks your account. It's like, no, you're not supposed to use a VPN to access our game server.
Jeez.
Yeah. This is why there are gaming VPNs, which are VPN services that bypass that restriction, that filtering that companies would do.
Yeah. Is it worth it? Like having a VPN for things like that?
So it depends on what you need a VPN for.
Oh.
If your goal is to hide the fact that, for instance, that it's your goal is to hide the fact that you are John Smith playing Overwatch, it's completely useless because like you're still logging into the game, like you're still entering your credentials. So like,
Yeah.
okay, you hide your IP address, but you're literally telling the game who you are. So there's no value in hiding your IP.
Okay.
However, VPNs can also, we'll get into more details, but VPNs can actually help you bypass region locking for games. And
Okay.
we'll get into that later. So, okay. So, are you with me so far? Does this all make sense?
Yep.
Great. Do you have any like is there anything right now on your mind that you wish you hadn't you know and you like is there a specific question maybe you're overstepping towards what we're going to talk about later but like do you have any questions right now?
Mm, I do, but it won't be appropriate for now.
Would you rather just type it in Discord?
Sure.
That's a great question. So we'll get into that. So this is sort of the more interesting part about VPN. So the question Trailmus asked is how do you recognize a trustable VPN? And there's nothing wrong with that question. It's actually a very good and healthy question to ask. And this is getting more into like the politics
Okay.
that are around VPN. But this is a pretty good question, and we'll get into that. So
Okay.
okay, so here's how it happens from a technical perspective. You have your blue letter you want to get to Google.
Yeah.
You're putting it in a red letter. And what happens is first you send that red letter to the VPN. The VPN
Yeah.
opens up the letter, decrypts the content, the blue content, and then sends the blue letter to Google.
Okay.
Okay. And now Google, as long as you're not logged into your Google account, because again, if you're logged into your Google account, this is worthless because you're literally telling Google who you are anyways. But
Oh yeah.
but if you're not logged into your Google account, Google doesn't know who you are. If you
Okay.
don't have like trackers lying around on your like bad trackers lying around on your browser and you're not logged in and stuff like that, so Google doesn't know who you are. So as far as protecting your privacy goes, that's a win. You just won against Google. Google cannot sell, they can't do anything with this, right? If they don't know
Okay.
who you are, they don't know your search history, they don't know who searched this, they won't know. Like they won't make any money off of it. So it's kind of crazy how much work it actually takes in order for you to actually protect your privacy, right? Because like a VPN alone is not enough. You need a good VPN, a good browser. You need, and you need to make sure you're not logged into anything. Like it's a mess, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, does the VPN actually know? Like, if Google doesn't know that you are John Smith looking for a new car in this instance, does the VPN provider know?
Yes.
Are you sure about that? Remember that we are
I
using HTTPS here. So they
If it's
what the
HTTPS, then no,
right. So
because they
the
don't have
idea
the
is
means
that
to encrypt it or to decrypt it.
exactly. So all that the VPN knows is that you are John Smith making a request to Google. And then the only thing Google knows is that someone using a VPN is looking for new cars,
Okay,
right? But as long as they're not the same entity, they can't sort of correlate their logs, right?
right.
But still, you could argue maybe my VPN provider will sell their own logs to Google to make a profit, right? Or maybe
Yeah,
the other way around. Google will sell the logs to the VPN provider, so now the VPN provider knows what you've been looking for, and then they can make a profit by selling that to advertisers. So there's still that issue, and this
yeah,
is where your question of what's a trustable so this essentially what a VPN server will do is move the trust boundary. It will sort of split the trust because you partially
mhm,
have to trust Google, but you partially have to trust the VPN. Or rather, you have to
yeah,
trust that they don't work with each other.
yeah.
But you're essentially just moving the trust boundary.
Okay,
The good news, though, is that you're also centralizing that that trust boundary. So instead of having to individually trust Amazon and Google and Microsoft and so on, instead of having to individually trust them to not sell your data, all you have to do is use a VPN, and the only company you have to trust with your data is the VPN.
okay,
So the problem is a lot more manageable, right?
yeah,
Especially since VPN providers, like the whole selling point of VPN providers is that you can trust them. So if there is a VPN provider that you cannot trust, you'll know about it. Like they have all the economical incentive to actually be trustworthy.